Good morning, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. This video is going to be an introduction to a project I've had for a while, but never really introduced to the channel, and that is the 1964 F100 behind me. Without further ado, let's get started. As I just mentioned, this here is a 1964 F100. I believe custom cab. But let's walk around, kind of take a look at everything. It's been around. Picked this up as a trade out of South Georgia. And she's a little rough. Overall, not in a bad position to get started on stuff. Walking this way is going to be a little bit tricky. I'm going to slide some stuff around. And there we go. There's our outside. This is not the original paint color. I'm not sure what the original paint color is, but I know it's not this two-tone. This vehicle did not come in this color. We've got mostly original lights, and we actually have a working tailgate. This will go up and latch. I've got it down because I've got all this stuff in the back. I'm out of storage. But anywho's, we got some work to do on the bed. The guy who had it before me, he said the bed was rotted out. So what he was going to do was convert it to a wooden bed, which I may follow what he's doing, or I may get some repair panels. I'm not sure. He had gotten it, his dad had gotten it, and was going to make a father-son project out of it. Then the dad died, and then the son really didn't want to have much to do with it, so I traded it for my 94 B3000, which he actually doesn't have anymore. There's an entire funny story there. But one of the things I find interesting is at some point in its life, this was probably owned by a soldier, based on some of the stickers found in it. If this is an original door, like it says custom cab, which back in 64, from the reading I've done, that indicates that this was the top trim for this vehicle when it was made. Now, back in 64, you'll notice this is not a really big truck. For those of you who don't know F-Series trucks. And it's because the F100 was supposed to be your small truck. It was supposed to be your economy truck. It wasn't supposed to be your main get stuff done truck. That fell to the F-150 or 250, 350, so on and therefore. This was your little zippy-doo-dah truck. So in later years, the kind of role that the Courier would have fulfilled, or the Ranger would have fulfilled once the Ranger became its own vehicle, that's what this was supposed to be. Hence the moniker of a F100. So if you look in the front, this is the original grille, and it's mostly here, and it's actually in good shape. The previous guy, he put in LED headlights, which if they are still working, I'll probably keep. Headlights are always a thing, but we're also going to have to make sure it's pointed right. One thing I've noticed by looking at this thing is the guy said he was a mechanic, and maybe it's something mechanics do to their own vehicles, but he was cutting a lot of corners when he was working on this. This has got the old I don't know the official name of this, but the Thunderbolt and Gear emblem for Ford, which is one of my favorite emblems for Ford, because Ford was showing that, you know, we can get stuff done through the power of innovation and technology. That's what this emblem was all about. I believe this is original. You can see that it was painted red in the background. That paint's almost all gone. I'll have to see what this looked like when it was in its heyday so I can try to fix it. And as you saw on the back windshield, we had Ranger stickers. We have another Ranger sticker here. If you are not from the Southeast, there's a major military installation in Southeast Georgia that was called Fort Benning, but has recently been renamed. I don't remember what the new name is. But big military base there. If you're taking some of the roads through the area, you can actually go by some of the depots and you can see just a bunch of tanks and things just sitting out there, which is kind of neat. So I guess I'll start jabbering and we'll go ahead, we'll open this up and we will see what's under the hood. All right, so this is a little different. You reach in the grill and it's a pull. So let me pull that, get my arm under here. Oh, I see what it is. It's the secondary catch right there. Come on. There you go. And here we are. So I think this is the original hood. This truck was blue. At least the hood was. And here we are. I believe this is the original, and someone may jump on me for this, but I think this is the 223. So this is Ford's small straight six that they put in a lot of stuff. This predates the Ford 300, which is a somewhat legendary engine. That one came later, I think late 60s, early 70s. And it's more or less complete. Say more or less because you'll notice our water pump's missing, our fan is missing, we got some pulleys missing. I think this is a generator instead of an alternator. Oh, there's our pulley. That's cool. He was actively working on it, or sort of working on it. So we've got some newer wires, a newer coil. Looks like Dobby struck. I don't know if that was before or after. I think this is fuel line. I think. So if any of you have ever watched my channel, I primarily deal with vehicles from basically the 1990s until today. 1990s to 2020. So this will be the first time I've really tried to go after something that's as old as my parents. Put that in perspective. Our hood, it's all right. We've got a little rot there, a little rot here, a lot more rot there. But again, all in all, not terrible. Our battery tray is rotten. That's not surprising, you know. Battery acid, hydrogen gas, all those fun things. He had put in a new battery cables. Looks like a new starter solenoid. Is that a PCV? Oh no, those weren't around yet. I think that's just some kind of a breather. But no wait, the breather's here, so I guess that is a PCV. All right. It just occurs to me, I don't know where the air filter was supposed to go on this thing. Unless that's the air filter. I don't think it is. I'll have to look that up. Oil's down here. We do have oil. And that, you may notice, we're missing our carburetor. And our linkages are locked up. So we'll have to work on that. But that's not really the point of this video. The point of this video is just to introduce this truck to the channel. Got our single reservoir fruit jar brake reservoir. Hey, we have a horn. Might even be the original. We have another horn. Might be the original. And when you look at the fender here, you see that it's white. And then you look down here, it's red. So I don't know what the original color there was. It looks like whenever they repainted the black, they actually went over the firewall too. So, yeah. Let me go ahead and let's go take a look inside, because this guy did a bit of, I viewed as butchery, but you know, he had a vision in mind for what he wanted to do with this truck, and they don't line up with what vision I had. But hey, I think this is the original glass. It's not even cracked. That's a good find right there. I'm not sure what went here. I don't think it's a mirror. I think that's where your mirror went. Maybe some kind of a big mirror here. I'd have to look up some pictures of 64 F100s. Got our gas cap here. Doesn't really go to anything at the moment. I'll show you why. So the door actually works and it does swing. And you have it's a black on red interior here. And then this is black too, so I don't know again if that's the original. So it may have been like a black on red truck on the interior. So I think this is original. Got the metal dash. Got some holes in it. Here's our missing taillight. So there you have it. I mean, it is truly a custom cab. This is the original dash. Looks like 88,563, and that 8 is kind of jumbly, so I'm gonna guess that's 188 at a minimum. Yeah, and I'd say check the pedals. We got a brake pedal that's pretty roached, and well, you know, the accelerator's kind of missing. Whoops. So butchery I was talking about is this right here. This was, I believe, originally a 3 on the tree transmission. So it was a column shift, right? You would shift from here. You didn't have a floor shifter. He converted it to a floor shift, and I don't believe this has the original transmission in it. I'm not sure what transmission is in it, but it ain't the original. But we do have, as I mentioned, a pretty decent dash. I mean, we've got a little bit of rust issues here. I'm gonna guess, I'll have to look it up. I don't know if this is leak or just this happened on these trucks because of the proximity to the glass. But we've got all that. We've got most of our original stuff. We even have the little decorative nameplates. I think that's for the horn. That's a little busted. Got, I think this is in the aftermarket. That'd be our headlights. So it needs some love, but the good news is it's an old truck, so you know, it's more simple. As you can see, we need some love, and the floors, they're not great. But the rocker here, solid. And when you look under the truck, it's also pretty solid. If you look back here, where the gas tank is supposed to be, there's a tank there, but it's probably toasted. As you can see, I've just been using this for storage. Seat's totally torched. It needs to be reupholstered. Let me bring you around to the other side. There's actually some interesting goodies because this was a custom cab. All right, so looking at the other side here, again, this door works. We're missing our door card and some other goodies. This was manual crank on both sides, but we do get our wing windows, which is kind of nice. I'm not going to press my luck and open that right now because I'm not working on this quite yet, just making this video. But check this out. We have factory air conditioning. Is that not cool or what? I think that came as part of the custom cab trim line, or at least it was an option. As you can see, we've got some more vents down here that are gonna have to be worked on. And this, I have put battery on this truck, and when you turn the fan on, it will turn on. It sounds like you're opening a portal to hell, but it will turn on. It's interesting. You've got your control for air here, right? And when we look in the glove box, not really much going on there. It's in one piece, which is nice. Not really much going on. We've got obligatory ashtray. Got this old school safety sticker. I don't know when that was put on there. A long time ago. This might be, I don't think this would be the original radio. That looks kind of newer, but at the same time, these knobs, they kind of fit the motif of the truck, so I don't know. Well, it's an FM radio. Did we have FM radios in '64? I don't know if we did. Little out of my depth here. So this may be an aftermarket that was installed way back when. So it still looks kind of ancient. Dash over here looks pretty good, right? Just needs a repaint. But I'm going to have to figure out how I'm going to patch that up there, because I've never worked with taking glass out. And I imagine this glass is not cheap to replace, though it looks like it's beginning to delaminate. So I have to figure that one out. Roof looks okay. We got some rust. I need to treat that. We have the remains of our... Yeah, that hinge is frozen. I just ripped that. That's okay. It needs to be replaced anyway. But we had the remains of our sun visors. We still have a rear view. You know, a couple of holes hither and thither. At one point in time in its life, this thing had, I'm assuming, a CB radio. That would be the whip for it, where it went. So, go ahead and get this closed up. This rocker is okay too. And we got a hole there, but you know. This door is fantastic. Close is great. If we go and we look, if we take a look underneath, I mean, yeah, the floor pan is not the greatest, but the actual frame is all right. Exhaust is some Bluetooth, but you know, we've got our diff is there. I think that would be a Ford 9-inch, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research there. There's that transmission. I notice now that the transmission crossbar is missing. That's groovy. Have to figure that one out. And we've got, this predates, you'll notice that big long bar there. This predates the Ford twin I-beam suspension that they ran forever and ever and ever and ever. So, yeah, that's a thing. But overall, this truck, at least the metal, is in pretty decent shape, which is the reason why I was willing to make the trade. Because though this truck is rough, the key steel is still pretty good. And I even got some parts. We've got a whole fender here. I don't know if it's necessarily any better or any worse, but we have one. We have one fender. We have, I think this is the truck's front bumper that's currently off, but we have it. I've got the trim that's missing. I just need to figure out how to attach it. I even have an extra door and the glass is still in the door, and it's good. And then, you know, I've got my fan here. So all in all, this truck is going to be the most ambitious project that I've gone to tackle. But I think it'd also be really neat. I've always, oh yeah. So I got this truck because I have always admired the artistic lines of the early 60s trucks. You know, I think they call this a fridge nose Ford, I think is how you call this style. But I've always loved it. Always loved these lines, always wanted a little F100 to just kind of bebop around in, and it be a personal truck. And this one, I don't need it to do work. This would just be a for me, for fun type vehicle, and that's why I got it. Same reason I got that Miata there. That's my fun little zoom car once I get it fixed up. And this is my drive around, have a truck, take it to a, you know, meetup or something kind of thing. So that leads to the question of, well, how far am I going to take this thing? And the answer to that is I'm going to get it running and driving, and I'm going to fix the floors, and I'm going to fix the bed and the exhaust, and I'll even probably try to get that 223 running just so I can say that I've done it. And this particular elder millennial has argued with a carburetor and won, so I can cross that off my bucket list. Fuel injection, I know how to argue with and win. I can even argue with TBI and win, but I've never argued with a carbureted car and won the argument, so I would like to do that. But that would be phase one, is going to be getting this up and running, because the 223 is very underpowered engine. It got this thing from A to B, but that's about it. What I would like to do is a little upgrade. So under this is this is a Ford 302 from I think a 2001 Explorer, so the last year that the Explorer got this engine. And it was converted to be put in a Ranger, which is why I initially picked it up, because I was gonna, that's good. I was gonna put it in my B3000, right? Victoria, but then I traded Victoria for that. So now I want to put this in that. And I do have a transmission to go with it. So this right here is a M5R1 5-speed transmission that came out of a similar time frame, like a late 90s F-150. And it has enough power to hold the 302, even if supposedly that 302 has a cam in it. Supposedly. I've never heard it run, so I'm going to chalk that up in the, yeah, guy was probably talking out his rear category. But this should be able to hold that power, and it will be, the bell housing is compatible with the back of that block. So I'm going to put those two together. I do have the shifter, and what I'm going to do as far as the wire harness goes is I'm probably going to go with a custom fuel injection setup, because I have the wire harnesses from 2001 Explorer, but because I'm not dropping it into a modernish Ford setup, it just would have way too many wires, and it requires computer control, and I'd rather get a custom fuel injection setup, or you know, something like that. It's going to cost a lot, but I think it's the better fit for phase 2 of this. But that's kind of my plan on this one. Don't expect to see content on it anytime soon. This is kind of at the bottom of the list because of how big of a project it is. I have some other stuff that I need to take care of first. And maybe, just maybe, if I'm lucky, I can actually start working on this.